if you remember, before week 1 started, it was like literally a couple days before, I predicted, let's just say some things, some standings, the division winners, all that sort of stuff. Basically, how each team was going to do for the NFL regular season. The NFL regular season is now over. And I've compiled what I said and my predictions on the spreadsheet. We're going to go over that. Here it is. It should be right here. Okay, boom, there it is. Wow, look at that. Let me do a quick explanation here. First off, I guess you can see here is what I predicted. So each division is along the top, but you can see B, G, L, and Q. I don't know if you can see those letters if I cropped it, but that's where I predicted all of it. And then next to it in the direct column to the right, that's also colored. That's what their actual record was. So the colors, if it's red, that means I was way off. Yellow means it was within plus or minus 2 wins, or like win total. And then green means I was dead on. So we did pretty good for the most part. There's the NFC down there, but let's go through this one at a time. I started with the NFC North. I took some notes about what I said. So basically, I said I was way off with the Ravens. I predicted them to win the division pretty handily at 13-4. Yes, let's hear your Super Bowl predictions because I'll be in Vegas for that. Oh, I'll get there. I'll get there for sure. We're just going to do a quick recap of how I did during the regular season with my predictions. I'm on my phone. I can't fucking see that. Well, I'm going to say it, okay? I'll be speaking it. This is just for a visual reference if you're on a bigger screen. Here, actually, you know what? I might even be able to do this. I don't know how much this is going to fuck with this. Especially the notes. The notes you don't necessarily... Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Oh, that made it so much bigger. We're going back. The notes are more so for me. So, actually, you know what we can do? We can do this. Just real quick. For those visually impaired, for those that are on their phones. How's that? How's that? Oh yeah, that's way better. What is that? 17? Yeah, hold on. Let me adjust these down here too. Just real quick. Oh yeah. Oh baby. Oh baby, that's so good. Okay. Love y'all. I don't know shit about the NFL, so I probably won't be paying much attention. That's okay, Gray. I get that. She immediately went to work. Sorry, I didn't mean to rush. Shut up, Nightbot. Ray has it under control. No, Nightbot is programmed to say that when she says lurk. Okay, so getting back into it. Starting with the AFC North, I predicted that the Ravens would go 13-4. They went 8-9. I was way off on that one. I said they trended up from last year. They might make the Super Bowl, and that Lamar was going to have a great year. In fact, none of those things were true. They definitely regressed from last year. They will not make the Super Bowl because they didn't even make the playoffs. And Lamar was injured for most of the year because he's got glass bones and paper skin. So I did not foresee that coming. So I was way off there. Steelers. I predicted to be 9-8. They were, in fact, 10-7. They won the division. I did not predict that. I said they would start off hot, then the wheels would fall off, they would slide in the back half of the season and sneak into a wild card spot, like normal. Like the prophecy foretold, the 9-8. They did slightly better than expected, okay? They won the division. They got one more win than I predicted. And they did not make a wild card spot. They won the division, so they got the home field advantage for that, which is crazy. But their wheels definitely did fall off there in the middle of the season a little bit with some tougher opponents. They definitely lost some games they shouldn't have. But you know what? They kept it together long enough to win the division. Now the Bengals, I predicted to be 8-9. They were 6-11. I did not predict for them to make the playoffs, which was a hot take. But I called it correctly. I said they were all offense. If Joe Burrow gets hurt, they're screwed, which they were. They would have a slow start, which I don't think was true. I think they actually started off pretty hot before Joe Burrow got hurt. But their defense cost them a lot of games because they are all offense. But I did say they would be third in the division and miss the playoffs, which was a hot take at the time, but turned out to be true. Then I called the Browns to be the Browns. I said Kevin Stefanski would be fired midseason. He actually got fired at the end of the season, so I was a little off there. But he did get fired, so I'm going to count that as a win. And it wouldn't be his fault, is what I literally said that. If you go back and watch it, I said it would not be his fault. And I said their 3 wins would specifically be against division opponents, which I don't think that was true either. I believe they beat the Packers. Well, I mean, they went 5-12, so they won more than just that. But they beat the Packers. They beat the Bengals in the last week. I don't remember if they have any. Oh, they did beat the Steelers, too, because I did say the AFC North is always a bloodbath. That was one of my notes for the whole division, was that we're a bloodbath. So that's the AFC North. I did pretty good, pretty accurate besides the Ravens. I was way off on them. Moving on to the AFC South, we have the Texans. I said they were going to win the division handily, which they did not. They did not win the division. That ended up being the Jaguars. And honestly, with how everything shook out, it was questionable there if the Texans would even make the playoffs. I said C.J. Stroud would have a better year than last year because he looked a little rough in his sophomore year. I said they would be nothing dazzling, and that they would lose in the wild card round, which now they are slated to play the Steelers, which is who I root for. And I don't know if I'm a little crazy here, but I think the Steelers do have a shot to fulfill this aspect of my prediction, that they might lose in the wild card round. But their defense was better. Was what held them in games. I don't think C.J. Stroud played particularly great this year. He was injured for a while. Yeah, I don't know. Then we get on to the Colts, and this is the first team. Okay, so let me just say, they're organized from top to bottom based off how I thought they were going to end up in the division. So, like, I thought the Texans would be number 1 in the division, Colts would be 2, Jags 3, Titans 4. So that's why they're in the order that they're in. So the Colts, that's the first team I got dead on. I predicted for them to be 8-9 and miss the playoffs. I specifically said they might put some stuff together with good quarterback play. They had a solid roster that was being held back by said quarterback. I did say better luck next year. Directly, I said better luck next year. But I could see them getting a wild card spot and I said doing something crazy. And this year, they did some crazy shit. Okay, Daniel Jones was like MVP front runner for half of the season. They start like 8-2, and then they finished 8-9 after Daniel Jones got dinged up and then broke his legs, shattered his legs in a million pieces. And tore his ACL, then AR didn't even get to play. I mean, I said I could see them doing something crazy, but I did not foresee them pulling Phillip Rivers off the couch out of his high school coaching job and having him start 3 games. But, I mean, hey, that's a pretty good prediction. I would say I'm doing something crazy were my exact words. You can go watch it. That's something crazy. So I'm going to call that a win. Now, the Jags, I got way wrong. I said back then, and I'll say it again, but I'm not a huge believer in Trevor Lawrence, and that he hasn't proven himself. He has done way better in the back half of this season, but he was up and down for the beginning portion of the season as well. They have been winning a lot of games, and they are definitely a hot team going into the playoffs. I did say he will put together a string of good games and then nosedive again, and I predicted them finishing 6-11. In fact, they won their division and went 13-4. They were like one of the surprising teams of the year, especially with Cohen as the first-year head coach. Is that his name? Liam Cohen? I think that's it. He was the OC from the Buccaneers last year, but now he's the head coach there. I was not I'm sorry, Liam Cohen. I was not familiar with your game. But he put together a great season for them. However, I think they're going to win at least one playoff game, but I don't think they're going to go farther than that. We'll get into the playoff picture in a little bit, but that's where I'm at with them right now. I was definitely way wrong. They did better than I expected. Good on them. Then the Titans, I predicted to be 5-12. They ended up going 3-14, a little bit worse than I predicted. I said Cam Ward was the big question mark there. And I said, and I quote, even if he does well, the team around him isn't that good, which turned out to be true. I think especially in the back half of the season when he did start playing better, they still lost some games and did not do very well. But I think he will be a good long-term quarterback as long as they continue to build around him. So that's it for the AFC South. It was pretty even out there because I got the Colts dead on and I got the Jags way wrong. Moving on to the AFC East here. Man, I definitely had some mess ups in this one. Let's start with the Bills. I predicted them to win the division pretty handily, were my exact words. I predicted them to go 11-6. They ended up going 12-5. Pretty damn close. You know, that just plus or minus one game, not bad. I have made some comments about Josh Allen's tendency to make crazy plays, which can cause turnovers in the past. I know at the beginning of the season, I said, well, at the beginning of last season, so not even the season that just happened like 2 years ago, I was worried that he would make a lot of turnovers again. He did very well last year at not turning the ball over. I feel like I don't know the exact numbers, but I think he's had more turnovers than he did 2 years ago, just this past year. But still not as bad as previous years, so he's definitely cleaned up that aspect of his game. And then I said, unless something cataclysmic happens or another team does shockingly well, they would win their division. And let me tell you, oh boy howdy, another team sure did shockingly well, and that would be the New England Patriots, okay? I predicted them to be 8-9. They ended up going 14-3, so I was way off. I did say Drake May has had potential, but I was wrong with this. I was not wowed by him last year. He definitely looked way better, significantly better this year. I did say that I thought they built around him and that they were trending in the right direction. Made a lot of good decisions in the off seasons, especially with like bringing in Vrabel as the new head coach and everything. And I said that they wouldn't quite put it together this year, but then next year they might, actually make a deep run. But boy, was I wrong. They went 14-3. I believe they have the number one seed, right? I'm pretty sure they're the number one seed overall. So they got home field advantage. I know they have the bye for sure. Crazy. Good for them. We'll see how they handle the playoffs because they are, well, I don't want to say they're all new to it, but like this iteration of the Patriots is very inexperienced. There is some comments to be made about how easy the Patriots' schedule was this year. I think there's that stat that they're 1-2 this year against teams with winning records. I haven't verified that. I think I saw that floating around online, but that's obviously kind of worrying. But I think, I don't know. We'll get to the playoffs in a second. This is just the predictions. I was way wrong on them. My apologies to Drake May. Then I predicted the Dolphins to be third in the division, which they were. I predicted them to go 7-10. They went 7-10. I said they were not going to put it together this year, that Tua needs to start thinking about his brain and shouldn't even be playing the game anymore. He had some absolutely befuddling interceptions this year where it's like, what the hell is this guy seeing on the field? Maybe he's still seeing double. I don't know. Maybe someone should check on his head. Honestly, I'm worried about the guy. I think his future in the NFL is definitely in question, both because of his brain and because of his play on the field, which is clearly affected by his brain. I did predict that Mike McDaniel would be fired after the season. I did say, or midseason if things don't go well. And for a while there, it was looking very clear that they were going to fire midseason. He ended up making it through the season, But then they just fired him today. Literally today, I think it was. I think I just saw it posted a couple hours ago. So look at me calling two of the coach firings. Look at that. So yeah, I nailed their record pretty bang on. Well, I did predicted bang on. Then rounding out the division, I picked the Jets to go last. I said they would be 4-13. I was a little overzealous with them. They went 3-14, one of the worst teams in the league. I said they have a good defense, but it would not carry them to wins, which is true. But then, well, let me just say the defense did not carry them to any wins. In fact, they set that NFL record where they didn't have a single interception all year, which is unbelievable. The first time in recorded NFL history that a team has not had an interception all year. That's absolutely crazy. I said the key to limiting their offense was shutting down Justin Fields, shut down his running ability and make him throw the football, and that would really shut them down offensively. Did he get injured or did they just pull him? I don't even remember anymore because it's not important. But he was not finishing games for them at the end of the season. And then I literally said, and I quote, "Nothing about them is threatening to me." And that turned out to be true. So good job on me there. Then this is probably... So minus the Patriots, I did pretty solid with that division. They definitely overperformed and surprised me. Then we get to the AFC West, which is undoubtedly the division I got the most wrong. I did say they were the most interesting division of the AFC in that there's a lot of question marks with them. So let's get into them. Starting off with the Chiefs, I predicted them to win the division. I think a lot of people predicted them to win the division. I said they would go 13-4. They wound up going 6-11 and completely missing the playoffs, which I don't think a lot of people foresaw. I said Mahomes would have a better year than last year, and that I think they'll have more convincing wins and got better from the previous year. Because I think the year before they had like 12 one-score wins that were like very fluky, a lot of fluky wins. And I was like, they'll have more definitive, convincing wins. Their roster got better, yada yada. They missed the fucking playoffs. Mahomes got injured, and then their offense like completely fell off a cliff after that point. But they were, I think, already eliminated by the time that happened. Or the week that he got hurt was the week that they were eliminated. So that sucks for them. But I don't think many people saw that coming. Then the Broncos. I said they would go 10-7. They ended up going 14-3. I was pretty off with them. I said similar things to what I did with the Patriots, where I said Bo Nix had a good, good first year, freshman year. Is that what they call it? Yeah, I guess so. Rookie season, good rookie season. And that they did a good job building around him. They had those signings in the offseason that were pretty big, kind of risky. See if they pay off or not. It seems like it's paid off. They're 13-4. Their defense is unbelievable. And I said they would make the playoffs, which is true. I just underestimated how good they were. I believe they also... Oh, maybe the Broncos have the number 1 seed, and then the Patriots are the 2nd seed. I can't remember which is which. But, yeah, they won their division, and... did pretty well, so good on them. Good, shout out the Broncos. They are one of the most confusing teams this year for sure because their offense looks like they're asleep half the time, but they keep winning. I don't know. It seems like they inherited a lot of the crazy shit that happened from the Chiefs last year is kind of what the Broncos did this year. Then the Chargers, I predicted to go 9-8. They ended up going 11-6. I did predict for them to make the playoffs. I said they're okay, but I will say this again too. I feel the same way about Herbert as I do about Trevor Lawrence, where they look good at times, but like overall their consistency is not there. Especially last year with the Chargers, where Herbert looked phenomenal the entire year, and then as soon as he got to the playoffs, he laid an egg. And had like 4 interceptions in that game, and they were just out just like that. I said they would make the playoffs barely. I think they snuck in there pretty handily, but still, I don't think they're going to make a deep run. I don't believe in them come crunch time, is what I said, which is still true. Let me salivate a little bit. Let me re-moisten my throat because I am sick, as I said earlier. Then we have the Raiders. I was a little overzealous with the Raiders this year. I said they would go 7-10. They went 3-14. I believe they are the number one overall draft pick coming up this year. They were the worst team in the league. They fired Pete Carroll, which I didn't see coming. I thought he would at least get 2 years. I said they were going to be competitive. They were not going to put it all together. I said they will find some way to mess it up in classic Raiders fashion, which lo and behold they did. I still, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, it's the reunion. They'll be good. They'll be able to work things out together." Whereas I have never been a big Geno Smith fan. I think he had a couple good years there, but I've never really bought it into him as an elite quarterback. And then I said better luck next year to the Raiders, which turned out to be true. It looks like they got the number one overall draft pick. So better luck next year, Raiders, and hopefully you can find a good head coach and a better quarterback. But yeah, so that's the whole AFC. Like I said, the AFC West I got way wrong, but I feel like a lot of people did. Yeah, let's move on to the NFC. So, oh yeah, that looks pretty good, huh? Okay. NFC North. I said, for this division, it's super competitive division. It's the hardest one to predict. And they might have 3 playoff teams in the division again. And I said it was the best division in football this year. Them or the AFC West. And I would say I was right that they were the best division in football. They did not have 3 playoff teams, but every team had a winning record, which... Oh, wait, why is this green? I was way off on this. This should be red. Oh, my God. Why is this green? Oh, my God. Didn't catch my mistake. Whoopsie. Every team had a winning record. Every last one of them, which is crazy. I forget what there was some stat associated with that. It doesn't happen very often, basically. So, getting into it, I predicted the Lions to go 13-4. They ended up going 9-8 and missing the playoffs. That was a big shock. I said they would win the division pretty handily. That people were selling Dan Campbell short, and I did say that their peak might be behind them, but that doesn't mean they won't be good. Which they were on the bubble for quite some time. I definitely think they missed their opportunities and could have. If they played even just 1% better, I feel like they would have been in the playoffs. And it was really up to themselves and how they played to make that happen, and they sort of squandered their opportunity, which sucks. I like the Lions a lot. I like Dan Campbell a lot. Yeah, it sucks. I like them. Hopefully they'll have a bounce back year next year. Then the Packers. I predicted to go 10-7. They went 9-7-1. That damn tie that they had with the Cowboys. I said their defense would be insane. I was not super high on Jordan Love because he's risky with his throws and his too gunslingery. I feel like, he got injured this year quite a bit. He was in and out of games. Malik Willis came in, played really well. And I think... I don't know if Love is starting in the playoffs here or not. I don't know what's going on with that. However, and they've definitely slid ass backwards into the playoffs. So I do not have high hopes for them. I know they had a lot of injuries that are really limiting how far they can go. Maybe they'll be able to shock some people, but I'm not honestly super high on them going into the playoffs. Then the Vikings, I also predicted to go 10-7. They went 9-8, and I said they might make the playoffs. I said I liked KOC, Kevin O'Connell, as the coach, and I thought he will set JJ up to succeed. JJ McAbrams McCarthy, like he did with Darnold, because I think KOC is a pretty smart coach, and he sets up his he's very real about what his players' capabilities are, and will like put them in positions to succeed. I think 9 had a real 9 with that fucking meme of him like looking all intense and kind of stupid. He looks stupid in that photo. I did say there would be a bit of JJ growing pains because he does not have much experience, which is definitely true. And I said they will get off to a slow start. And I think all those things were true, especially with JJ getting hurt. Like in the early parts of the season, he came back, still didn't look great some games. But they still wound up with a winning record. They went 9-8. It was a weird year in Minnesota. A lot of people were questioning KOC because he should have just kept Sam Darnold after the year that he had. But like I still understand the thought process of like wanting to develop this guy. I'm not like I haven't closed the book on JJ yet. We'll see. It's going to be a really interesting year for them next year too. Then the Bears were the shocks. I did predict them to go 9-8. They ended up going 11-6 and winning division, which is kind of wild. Good for the Bears. I did say it was questionable how well they would do. I could see them putting some things together, but I did say they would miss the playoffs, and I was wrong with that. Obviously, the big move was Ben Johnson coming over from the Lions. He was their offensive coordinator last year. He is now their head coach. He did pretty good. It was looking a little rough in the beginning there. Like the first 5-6 games, I think it was. They were looking a little questionable, but then they really put it together, and they won their division. Good for them. They play the Packers in the first round, which I could see going either way. They played some very contested games earlier this year. I think they went 1-1. They was like competitive within one score games, like maybe within 3 points or so each game. So that's going to be a really interesting game between them in the wild card round this weekend. If you hear me smacking, Desi Doodle came down. She's just off screen. She's actually behind the predictions right now. Although I don't think you'd be able to see her if I hit it. But I'm smacking her little booty because she wants some pets and some butt scratches. Okay, moving on to the NFC South. We got the Buccaneers. I predicted them to win the division easily was the word I used. Easily win the division. They did not do that. They missed the playoffs entirely through some crazy evil black magic where they won their last game, but then because the Falcons won their last game, because of the tiebreakers, they ended up missing the playoffs. I said I said they were operating in that position they wanted to be, where they were underrated coming into the year. So that's Baker would look good. He did look good for a while. He was getting talked about in the MVP conversation, and maybe that was too bright of a spotlight on him, and then he shriveled up under the pressure again. He likes to be the underdog. I predicted them to go 10-7. They went 8-9. And I did say Bucky Irving was primed to have a good year, which he was. He was looking really good, and then he got injured for a while. So I wasn't entirely wrong there. But, injuries suck. What's up, dudes? Do you want to make an appearance? Hey. All right, hold on. Let me hide this briefly. Dassy, come here. Come here. Oh, you can see a tail wagging. Here, look. There's her tail. Come here. You want to come up here? Come on. Here, put your feet up here. Come here. Okay. Maybe not. Okay. We're just going to keep going then, dudes. All right. Back into it. Then I predicted the Falcons to be second in the division. I predicted they would go 7-10. They ended up going 8-9, so pretty damn close. I said Penix was going to struggle in the beginning. They were going to win some close games. They were going to miss the playoffs, but they were trending in the right direction and had a good future with Penix. Get her in the shot or else. I misread that at first, and I thought it said get her shot or else, and I was like, I don't want to shoot my dog. What do you mean? Hold on. She did kind of turn around, so you might be able to see her little head. Yeah, look, there's her head. She's right there. She's right there. Doodle. Hi, baby. She's getting a little chest scratch right there. So good. Don't shoot my dog, please. Thank you. Which I feel like some of these things were true. I think there are some questions about Penix's longevity because he definitely got hurt a lot, and they had to put Kirko Chains in there. Mr. Cole's cash. And he looked pretty decent too. They just fired both their head coach and GM, which I think is probably the right move because they definitely could have won way more games than that. They have a pretty good team. Brian said, I'd appreciate you not talking about any man's longevity. That's personal. Especially a Penix's longevity, Brian. That is pretty personal. Okay, good enough. Thank you. Yes, please do not shoot Desi. She's a good girl. But yeah, the Falcons had a better roster than their record showed, and I believe that was mainly due to coaching. Then the Panthers, I said they would also go 7-10. They went 8-9. They ended up winning the division and sneaking into the playoffs, which is absolutely wild. I don't think they're going to go far in the playoffs. My predictions were Young is going to have a good year, and I don't know any of their players on the defense, so that would be their limiting thing, especially after their historically bad year last year. They had some pretty big wins this year. Rico Dowdle had a great year. I don't know if Bryce Young did have a good year. I think it was pretty middling. Yeah, good for them though. They're in the playoffs and they're playing the Rams again. I don't think they're gonna make it past the wild card round. Then we got the Saints rounding out the division. I did predict them to finish last in the division. I said they would go 2-15. They ended up going 6-11. Actually had some pretty good wins in the back half of the year, especially against their division opponents in the Buccaneers, Falcons, and Panthers. I think they did pretty good beating some of them. I think they beat all of them in the back part of the year there, didn't they? I don't know exactly, but I know they beat like 2 of the 3 of them. I said they were probably the worst team in the league, which, nope, that was the Raiders. Should have known. They were going to be another year or two before they recovered from their salary cap issues, but they were definitely making some good moves to get that all sorted out. Honestly, they did better than expected. I think Tyler Shuck, the 46-year-old quarterback, is going to have another couple of good years in him, and he might be the franchise guy for them, at least for another year, for sure. And then longer than that, who knows? And then literally my note for this division was like, do I even really care about any of these teams? I thought they were like the worst division, which I think is true considering they all went 8-9 and one of them got into the playoffs with the way they did. I think they are the worst division, like overall. Okay. Then we get to the NFC West, which I said, okay, I was right in my thinking, but I was wrong with how that thinking actually applied. Okay, I said the division would be a soup again, like last year, where 3 teams were in contention for the number 1 seed until the last week of the season. I didn't mean number 1 seed like. Well, I meant like winning their division as far as number 1 seed was the thing I did. But like it was a soup. They were competing till the end. They were just like, instead of being right around like 9-8 or so, they were like all very good teams. Well, 3 of the 4 of them were very good teams. So they did better than I expected, but they were still a soup competing with each other, if that makes sense. So I predicted the 49ers to go first with an 11-6 record. They ended up going 12-5. They did make the playoffs. I said it would be a bounce-back year after all the injuries from last year. And then I did hilariously say they would not have as many injuries as they did last year. And I think they had just as many as last year and really struggled again, but they were able to win a lot of gritty games, and they get a lot of credit for that. Which I feel like they're still kind of limping into the playoffs, and I don't know how deep they're going to go. Although they do have a lot of experience on the roster with going into the playoffs, so that might be able to help them. Then I said the Rams would finish second. I said they would go 9-8. They ended up going 12-5. My big question mark was Matthew Stafford and if he would stay healthy all year. He ended up doing that. I don't think he missed a single game, which is good. He had put up an MVP season. And I said they had good receivers. I was really just worried because especially at the beginning of the year, they were talking about like his back having issues. And I did say they could make a deep playoff run again, which I do think is going to happen. So good for them. Then the team I got way wrong was the Seahawks. I said I was not super high on Sam Darnold, like I mentioned, talking about J.J. McAbrams. I thought it was more KOC getting the most out of Darnold than Darnold being a fully capable quarterback. Obviously, the Seahawks defense has like carried them a lot this year. Darnold looked great in the beginning part of the year, and I do still have my questions about him in the playoffs. I don't know how well he is going to do. Especially in the last couple weeks, he has not looked the best, but we'll have to see. And I think their defense can pull them along to the Super Bowl, honestly. They're that good. And then the Cardinals, I did have them last. I did say they would be last in the division, but when rewatching the video, I actually forgot to say what I thought their record would be. So it would at least be below 6-11, but I never actually said, so I'm not like counting it for as far as the prediction goes. I think it would be yellow if, I wanted to apply the plus or minus two wins thing, because they would be at least 5-14 going beneath the Seahawks, because I didn't think they were going to win 6 games. That's for damn sure. And they ended up going 3-14, also one of the worst teams in the league. I said that they never get on the right track. They always mess it up. But like they have. I said they had the highest one of the highest variances of how well they can do of any NFL team. Like it was finally the year they all got clicking, because they have like the players have the raw potential to do really well. Like Kyler Murray can drop some dimes from time to time. They have Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh, there was Desi again. You probably just saw her behind. Yeah, look, there she is. She's right over my shoulder, right here. But they have Marvin Harrison Jr., who has not been activated or utilized at all really this year. They have I forget who that rookie is, but he had a great year this year, just sort of out of nowhere. So like I feel like they have potential, and it was mainly down to the coaching staff, and their dude got fired again. Murray ended up getting benched. I still don't think he's the guy. I said he's not the guy at the beginning of the year, and that they wouldn't beat any of the tougher teams, and that turned out to be true. They went 3-14. But, like, I thought, maybe if, like, some of the highs that Kyler Murray has experienced before, if he could just, like, lock into that and, like, play that well consistently, like, he would be awesome. But that is not going to happen. He is not capable of that. And then moving on. I forgot to switch this actually. See how I did east-west up here, and then I did west-east down here. Whoops, forgot to switch those around. Whatever. I also did that in the video back then too, I noticed, but I still forgot to switch it. Finishing off with the NFC East, I said the Eagles would go 13-4. They ended up going 11-6. I said that they were still one of the best teams in the league, top 5, maybe even top 3. And then I think when I did actually do my power ranking every single teams, I put them at number 1. So that was my high expectations for them going into this year, because like they pretty much stayed the same. But Barkley had a down year. I did say this, too. I said they were going to lose 3 games in the middle of the season, inexplicably, and fans will call for Sirianni to get fired. I don't know if I spelled Sirianni right there, but whatever. And that happened. This happens every fucking year with them, where there's some sort of drama, A.J. Brown not getting the ball enough, and when he does, they still lose, and Saquon Barkley didn't play well, and is Jalen Hurts actually a top-tier quarterback? But they still fucking went 11-6 and won their division, so, like, who knows? They're such a weird team. I still think they are poised for sure to get into a deep playoff run. Like, I don't know if they're just going to flip the switch and just be legit again. I don't know. The Eagles are one of the weirdest teams I've ever seen. They win games. Some like, how many times this year have they scored like 0 points in the second half of the game but still won? It is bizarre. It is so bizarre. I don't know what to make of them, but they won their division, are in the playoffs, and are 11-6. I don't get it. Then the Commanders. I predicted to be second in the division and go 9-8. They ended up going 5-12. I said they might make the playoffs again, and I said Daniels would take a step back from his rookie season, but they would still do pretty well. I didn't know he was good. He was like Lamar Jackson, has glass bones and paper skin, where he missed a lot of games. So that kind of sucks because I think he is a really good player. He just wasn't on the field much. And then that really hurt their chances. And I don't feel like they had a lot of offensive weapons outside of that anyway. Oh, that was Desi getting all curled up in her bed. Rough year to be a Commanders fan? Yeah. Like, they had such high expectations. They just fired their offensive coordinator. It sucks. Like, what's his name? Cliff Kingsbury? Is that it? It sucks because like they were such a unexpected team last year that it was like, oh yeah, let's see how good the Commanders are going to be this year, and then they just kind of were a wet fart, unfortunately. Then next up is the Giants. I said they would be third in the division. They would go 7-10. They ended up going 4-13. I said they were on the right path. Like I felt like they made some good moves in the offseason. Maybe not getting both Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. I did say both the coach and the GM were on the hot seat, and they might get fired, which I believe both did. Maybe the GM didn't. I know for sure Dable, the coach, got fired. And I did say they would have a couple surprising wins over some people, which did happen as well. They beat the Eagles on that Thursday night game, which was like a huge win for them. But again, the Eagles are super weird, so I don't even know if that is a huge win or an unexpected win at this point. But whatever. Jackson Dart looked pretty good when he wasn't concussed. If he can just stop lowering his shoulder and actually play smart. And like Cam Scatabo too, that dude was a fucking he was a bulldog. That dude is like a bull in a china shop. That dude maybe has like 6 brain cells, and 5 of them are focused on football, and the last one is just like breathing, basically. He breathes and plays football. But it was entertaining watching those two like drop the boom on people, but like they both got fucking hurt for playing like that. And if they can just stay healthy, like I think that would be a great combination into the next year. And we'll see if a new coach can really up that ante. Go Birds, more like Jackson Fart. Damn right, brother. More like Jackson darting straight to the medical tent because he's got another concussion. Am I right? And then, last but not least, we have the Cowgirls. I said they were going to go last in the division. They ended up going second in the division. I said they'd go 7-10. They went 9-7-1, which... I was actually pretty close on the record. I said they're a mess, and there was going to be Pickens drama, and their defense was not going to do them any favors, which turned out to be true. The defense was the reason that they ended up missing the playoffs, I would say, because they did not do well. Their offense was like wheeling and dealing for a couple weeks there with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Dak playing respectable. But... yeah, just another underwhelming season for the Cowboys. Go figure that. So yeah, those were my predictions. I think I did pretty good, honestly. I think my biggest misses for sure were the Seahawks, the Lions, the Patriots, and then the Chiefs and Ravens. Like, I overestimated the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Lions. And then then I underestimated the Jags for sure, the Patriots for sure, and the Seahawks for sure. So, like, 3 overestimates, 3 underestimates. So, like, I think that balanced out, honestly, pretty good. What division did I do the best at? Probably the NFC South, the NFC North, and the AFC North. Were like the ones where I was pretty dead on with what happened there. Yeah, that's my predictions. Let's quickly look here. Let me pull off the bracket. NFL playoff bracket. We're gonna just pull this over here real quick. Okay. If I put this here, hopefully that does it. Does that look good? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Let me just do this real quick. We'll just tighten that up. Perfect. Get this Best Buy ad out of here. You know what? We're going to go like this. And then we're going to make this a little bit bigger. How about that? Oh, baby. Now we're talking. Okay. Cool. Let me make sure I'm framed properly. More like Jackson. Oh, you're so right. More like Jackson, no heart. Yeah, more like Jackson, no. More like Jackson, start playing a little smarter. You're going to spend all your time concussed. How about that? Okay, so here's the current playoff schedule, I guess. This is... Oh, is it only the 1 seed that gets a bye? I guess I never really realized that. That's crazy. Anyway, this is the teams. 14 teams made it. Here they all are. The Broncos have a bye. The Seahawks have a bye. And they're the number 1 seeds. Good for them. So, let's get into this. First matchup, Steelers and Texans. Honestly, call me crazy. I think the Steelers have a chance here. I think the Steelers, despite having a worse record, have a really solid chance of beating the Texans. It's going to be a defensive slog. The Texans' defense is one of the best in the league. I think they were ranked number 1 overall or something. Or no, that might have been the Seahawks, actually. But like they're a top 5 defense at the very least. And the Steelers most certainly are not. But the Steelers are playing at home. Weird shit happens with the Steelers. I have not been dazzled with the Texans' offense very much at all this year. So I'm actually going to pick the Steelers to win a playoff game. I know, crazy opinion there. Wild, I don't know for sure, but my heart is there. I guess wrong a lot this year on Steelers games. I think I missed like almost every single week game prediction week to week with them, but I think they have a shot here. I really hope so because I am a Steelers fan. Then Jags Bills. Here's my hot take. I think the Bills are going to be a first-round exit this year. Here's the thing. There's no Mahomes. There's no Burrow. There's no... who's the other one? That's all. Oh, no, Lamar Jackson. None of those 3, which always give the Bills a hard time in the playoffs, none of them are in there. So they're like, oh, this is the year for the Bills. They're going to do it. I don't think they're going to do it. That's my crazy take. I think they're going to get bounced by the Jags in the first round. And here's why, okay? They rely so much on Josh Allen to play hero ball. And time again, it has not worked out for them in the playoffs. And I don't think this year is any different. I don't think they have the offensive weapons around him for them to make a deep playoff run, let alone win the Super Bowl. James Cook had a phenomenal year, which took some of the pressure off of Josh Allen, but when it relied on him to be the person to make the throws, and they took James Cook out of it and put a lot of pressure on Allen, he did not look good this year, and I don't think that is a good sign for a deep playoff run. So I think they're going to get bounced by the Jags. Okay? That's my prediction. Then, Patriots-Chargers for the AFC is the last game. I talked about how the Patriots... had an easy schedule this year. However, like I said, I don't think the Chargers are going to go far. I don't have faith in them very much. They are the 7th seed, so they're going into New England to win. I think the Patriots are put well enough together, have like a very good flow, like how they play the games is very controlled, very measured, and I think they're just going to be able to win. I don't know if it's going to be as tight as people think it is. Like, I could see the Patriots winning by, like, 10 points or so. I just don't think the Chargers are going to do it. So that means the second week is going to be Broncos, Steelers, and then Jags, Patriots. So 1, 2, 3, 4 as far as the seeding goes. Now, I'm not going to predict any further than that at this point. Maybe I can make another prediction next week. But because I want to see how the teams play, see how injuries shake out, that sort of thing. Now, moving to the NFC, and maybe I will make some bold long-term predictions, but let's at least cover the NFC side first. So, moving to the NFC, Seahawks got the bye. First round, Rams-Panthers, or Panthers-Rams. They're playing in Carolina, which is good. Good for the Panthers. They get a home playoff game, which is wild. And they did beat the Rams already once this year. I'll be honest, I don't think that's going to happen again. I think the Rams are really clicking offensively, and I think that's going to continue. If their defense can get it together, then I think they will do well. Keep predicting, Coward. I have bets to make. I'll get there. I will tell you some bets that I have made as well. But let me just go for through the first round of games. So the Rams are really cooking on offense. I think they're getting Devontae Adams back as well. And the Panthers went 8-9. They did have some really big wins, like over the Rams earlier in the season, but the fact that they squeaked into the playoffs like they did, I don't think is a good sign, and I don't think they make it out of the wild card round. Simple as that. Eagles 49ers, I don't know. I straight up do not know what's going to happen with this game. The 49ers are like still dinged up too. The Eagles are fucking weird. I am going to like Brock Purdy played super well, except minus against the Seahawks, but the Seahawks defense is amazing. The Eagles defense is pretty solid and has kept them in a lot of games, but I don't think it's Seahawks level. The 49ers offense was like cooking before that, but their defense is terrible and has been the reason why they've been in so many crazy games. But the Eagles offense is like so inconsistent. This game is like a coin flip, straight up. I don't freaking know. I don't even know what Philly is favored -5.5. Is that what that means? The up in the right corner there. I don't know. I think they are going into Philadelphia to play this game, so it's going to be a hostile environment. Eagles fans are nuts, but like I could see the Eagles losing this as well, and there being a goddamn riot in the town. They're going to charge the field and guillotine Nick Sirianni and put his head on a spike if that happens. But I could see it happening because Eagles fans are fucking wild. Philadelphia is not the city of brotherly love when it comes to sports. Those people are straight up assholes. Speaking as a Pittsburgh fan. But I don't know. Fuck it. Let's go with the 49ers. The Eagles have been getting too lucky, and I think they're going to get a smack to the mouth and be like, oh shit, we forgot this is the playoffs now. We can't just be taking it easy. And they're going to get bounced before they know what hits them. So let's go 49ers there. And then Bears-Packers. This is another interesting one. I talked about this in my predictions as well. Both of these games that they played earlier this year were like within one score, very close games. I could see it going either way here. I think I'm going to go with the Bears right now just because the Packers are very dinged up and have kind of just like fallen ass backwards into the they've fallen ass backwards into the playoffs, and I don't think they're going to be able to course correct and really like get things back on the right track in time to beat the Bears. Although I don't know how far the Bears are going to go either, because they are like the shocking team of the year. I think they did have some like really weird losses here towards the end of the season. So I could see this going either way either. I think I'm going to go with the Bears. Again, right now, I don't know what the quarterback situation is like for the Packers. I think Jordan Love might be playing. I don't actually know. But Malik Willis is for sure hurt, I believe. And I forget, they got rid of Clayton Tune. They cut him, and I forget who they just brought in and signed onto the practice squad just in case, but it was like a bigger name than fucking Clayton Tune. No offense, Clayton. You did play that one game, and the first pass you threw when Malik Willis got hurt was a tipped interception, which was not your fault. Sorry, pal. Them's the break sometimes. But yeah, I think I'm just going to go with the Bears. I think they got a little bit of that Cinderella feeling where it's like, yeah, holy crap, the Bears, they're going to do it. They're going to go far. I think they're going to get one win, and then like they're going to lose all their steam and then probably lose in the next round. So that means the second week is going to be Seahawks, Rams, 49ers, Bears. So that's what, 1-5-6-2? Not bad. Okay, but fuck you. Hey, listen, the Eagles are a weird team, and I think their luck's going to run out. Clayton. Gorilla. Then, what else we got? 10K on the Bears. The Bears, turn your fucking mic off. I am not placing any money on the. Well, I might place some monies on the Bears. Uh, oh, Brian, 2,000 points to the food eating challenge. Thank you, Brian Urlacher. Yes, he was a bear. Yes. Okay. I'm logging into my DraftKings right now. Ooh, Brian, contributing more to the Stream Week challenge. Thank you. Okay, I did place 2 bets the other day. I will read them to you right now. The first one was a Super Bowl winner. And do you know who I picked to win the Super Bowl? None other. Well, they are the favorites to win the Super Bowl right now, I believe. I picked the Seattle Seahawks. Okay, I saw some stat where I think their defense finished number 1 in both rushing and passing defense, like across the league, and like 4 out of the last 5 times that has happened, that team has gone on to win the Super Bowl. I think that including the time before. Okay, so it happened in 2023 with the Ravens. They did not win the Super Bowl, but the time before that, it happened with the Seahawks, and they did win the Super Bowl. So I think that that's going to happen, basically. Even though I don't really believe in Sam Darnold, I think that defense is good enough to hold other teams' offenses to like 0 points and help them win the playoff. And I think it'd be really cool, honestly, if Sam Darnold does win a Super Bowl, even if like he doesn't really do much to help them get there. I mean, shit, we saw Tom Brady do the exact same thing for like 25 fucking years. So that was my pick. I put $5 on them to win the Super Bowl. If I win, I get 21.50. The odds are plus 330 there, so not bad. Then the other bet I placed was it was a $5 wager. This was actually a player prop bet. Let's see. It was Puka Nacua, Christian Watson, and Jacoby Myers to combine for 250 plus receiving yards. I think that's $5 in for a plus 250. So if I wagered $5, I get 17.50. I know, big spender over here. That one seemed like a fucking done deal to me. Puka Nacua and Jacoby Myers have both been having great years. I don't know much about Christian Watson's stats, honestly. But like 250 across 3 players, that's like 80 yards a piece. Especially with the type of games that Puka Nacua has been having. Like, that seemed like a done deal to me. So I guess we'll see. We'll probably finish with like 249 receiving yards among the 3 of them. And then I'll get to say the NFL is rigged. So that was that. And then I will... I have $5 more in my account right now. So I will do a parlay betting on every single winner that I just said. So let's do that. Let's go home. Let's go to NFL. Let's go to game lines. Yeah, so we said the Rams would win. We would let me add more to this before we get too crazy. We said the Bears would win. We said the Jags would win. We said the 49ers would win. We said the Patriots would win, and we said the Steelers would win. So if I put $5 on that, what is that? That's a 6-pick parlay. If I put $5 on that, my total payout is $244.32. It's plus 47.86. Fuck it. Let's do it. Whatever. What's $5? So there you go. There's all your games. Week 1 games. I put $5 on it. There you go. I'm trying to log into my FanDuel account, but my work internet is hot garbo. It's booty butt cheeks, would you say? Not NFL, but I'm going to put a $5 bet on Miami winning tonight. Is that the national championship? Is that tonight? I have said time and time again that I don't give a fuck about, what's it called? College football. It's dumb, and I hate the nil, and all that. Real quick, one last thing. Let's look at how Jaws and I are doing as far as our NFL predictions go. So we have not predicted this upcoming week. Here, we'll go like this. So let me just bounce that out of the screen. We'll make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. Oh, yep, we'll go like right about there. How's that? Okay. So, after week 18, here's how well we did. Jaws is up by about 2% on me. She's got an overall win percentage of 59.7%, minus 57.9%, so almost 2% on me. She went 160 and 108 this year, picking games. I went 150 and 109. The reason why she picked more games than me was a while back, one of the weeks I was traveling and she picked games without me, and by the time I was at a position to pick games, half of them were already over. So I just said, fuck it, I'm not picking that week. So yeah, that's what happened. Now, compared to last year, okay, at the end of the regular season, we were like way better. We were rocking a 65%, 66%, and we're like within 1% of each other. This year was unfucking believable. It was so hard to predict. This year was so hard. So our averages overall after the regular season is way lower. I don't know statistically if I can catch up to Jaws at this point, but we're going to try. We're going to try our darndest. I didn't really fill in my predictions that I just said over to the right for the next week, but I guess I should do that. So that's it. That's NFL talk. We just talked for an hour about my predictions, like nonstop. Hopefully that was good. I plan on making this into a YouTube video and posting that ASAP as well.